In the summer of 2006, the MIT Press published an article titled "No Place to Hide: Refugees, Displaced Persons, and Recruitment of Child Soldiers" by Vera Aquarina and Simon Reich. The article explores the factors that contribute to the recruitment of child soldiers, particularly focusing on the role of refugees in IDP camps. The author argues that the degree of access to refugees camps and IDP camps that are obtained by belligerent parties is the primary determinant of child soldier recruitment rates. The authors cite several factors that contribute to this, including poverty, orphan rates, and the globalization of small arms. The authors argue that while poverty and orphan rates may make children more susceptible to recruitment, it is the vulnerability of children in refugee and IDP camps that ultimately explain their participation rates. The authors support their claims with a variety of evidence, including statistics, interviews, and case studies. They found that there was no systematic relationship between poverty rates and child soldier participation rates. They also found that there were a relatively weak relationship between orphan rates and child soldier rates ratios. In the two Liberian cases, they found that the presence of ECOMOG forces in the first war provided some protection for IDPs, but the lack of protection in the second war led to a significant increase in child soldier recruitment. The specific four arguments made by the author make sense. In recent years, there have been several migration events that have occurred due to conflicts such as the Ukrainian refugee crisis. This event is similar to findings in the article because it highlights the vulnerability of refugees and IDP, particularly children who are at risk of recruitment by armed groups. The article is important because it adds to our understanding of the factors that contribute to child soldiering. It can be used by practitioners, field workers, and policymakers to develop policies and interventions aimed at protecting children from recruitment and exploitation. After reading this article and comparing it to the current migration event, some questions that arise are: how can the international community better protect refugees and IDPs, particularly children, from recruitment and exploitation by armed groups? What are the long term consequences of child soldiering by for individuals and communities, and how can these be addressed? How can the root causes of conflict such as poverty and inequality be addressed to prevent future migration events and child soldier recruitment? In the next article, in June 2004, Wiley, on behalf of the International Studies Association, published an article in the International Studies Quarterly Journal titled "Does Peacekeeping Keep Peace? International Intervention and the Duration of Peace After Civil Wars" by Virginia Page Fortna. The article examines the effectiveness of international intervention in maintaining peace after civil wars. The author argues that peacekeeping operations, particularly those conducted after the Cold War, have a significant positive impact on the duration of peace. The author identifies four types of peacekeeping missions: observer mission, traditional peacekeeping, multidimensional peacekeeping, and peace enforcement. The author argues that the observer missions and multidimensional peacekeeping reduce the likelihood of another war, but traditional peacekeeping and peacekeeping less so. The author supports her claims with a variety of evidence, including statistical analysis, case studies, and historical data. The author found that after the Cold War, the presence of peacekeepers reduced the risk of another round of fighting by almost 70%. The author also found that observer missions and traditional peacekeeping missions were the most successful, reducing the risk of war by about 86% and 81% respectively. The specific four arguments made by the author make sense. In recent years, there have been several instances where peacekeeping operations have been deployed to maintain peace after civil wars, such as in the Central African Republic. This event is similar to the findings in the article because it highlights the importance of peacekeeping in preventing the resumption of conflict, especially in cases where there is no clear victor. The article is important because it provides evidence for the effectiveness of peacekeeping operations in maintaining peace after civil wars. It can be used by policymakers and practitioners to make informed decisions about when and how to deploy peacekeeping forces. After reading the article and comparing it to the current peacekeeping operations, some questions that arise are: how can the international community improve the selection process for peacekeeping operations to ensure that they are deployed to the most effective cases? What are the long term effects of peacekeeping on post conflict societies, and how can these be optimized? Both articles offer valuable insights into the complexities of conflict and its impact on vulnerable populations. Ackerman and Reich highlight the devastating consequences of displacement, particularly for children who become prime targets for recruitment and child soldiers. Their research underscores the crucial role of access to refugee and IDP camps in determining recruitment rates and emphasizing the need for robust protection mechanisms. The current Ukrainian refugee crisis serves as a stark reminder of the continued relevance of their findings and raises urgent questions about international responsibilities to safeguard displaced populations. Fortner, on the other hand, examines the potential for international intervention to mitigate the recurrence of violence after civil wars. Her work demonstrates the positive impact of peacekeeping operations, particularly observer missions and multidimensional peacekeeping, on the duration of peace. The ongoing peacekeeping efforts in regions like the Central African Republic illustrate the practical implications of her research and prompt further inquiry into optimizing peace strategies for maximum effectiveness in diverse conflict settings. Ultimately, both studies emphasize the need for a multifaceted approach to addressing conflict and its consequences. This includes not only robust peacekeeping operations but also proactive measures to protect vulnerable populations, address the root causes of conflict, and ensure accountability for those who perpetrate violence, particularly against children. As we consider current and future crises, the insights from these articles are crucial for developing informed and effective strategies and promoting peace and protect human rights.